Despite its long runtime, the Game Awards offered a pretty impressive list of reveals, from The Witcher 4 to the return of Okami and Onimusha. Elden Ring Night Rain is taking the beloved Souls-like into a standalone multiplayer space, Split Fiction looks to offer yet another incredible Haze-like co-op adventure, and even the rumored Virtua Fighter reboot was confirmed with an impressive new trailer. However, several existing titles also received release windows and trailers, including Crimson Desert from Pearl Abyss, which continues to impress. It's all the more interesting because the first trailer landed in 2019. We didn't know what to think back then, aside from the developer promising a single-player prequel to its MMORPG Black Desert Online. Further details were also forthcoming.
To us! No further destruction, I assure you. Do your worst, Remain!
Changed drastically at the Game Awards 2020 when Pearl Abyss debuted its gameplay trailer for Crimson Desert, noting it would be actual in-game and gameplay footage, albeit a work in progress. What we saw looked simply mind-blowing. Massive landscapes of different climates, from mountain ranges and forests to plateaus, and yes, some deserts, settlements of varying sizes, including villages and massive cities with various NPCs roaming about, realistic-looking dialogue exchanges with excellent facial animations, and that's not even getting to the incredible visuals. However, the gameplay ultimately caught people off guard, particularly in its sheer variety. Dungeons with different puzzles, swamps to boat through, visceral combat with admittedly excessive amounts of screen shake, massive monsters you can climb onto, sieges, aerial battles with a dragon mount, it all seemed too good to be true. In a Dev Archives video, the development team said it only revealed a third of everything that it actually shot into the trailer. Not a third of the game, mind you, a third of whatever it captured. It even touted more content in development that players could look forward to. Given the number of games that could easily fool players, including a little-known upstart in the following year called The Day Before, many were understandably skeptical. The fact that Pearl Abyss touted a winter 2021 launch also didn't seem viable, and no prizes for guessing but Crimson Desert wouldn't arrive that year. There were no updates, and for all intents and purposes, it seemed like nothing more than an impressive showcase that Pearl Abyss couldn't deliver on.
We were setting off to find you anyway. The branch masters put a generous bounty on your head. 1 whole gold piece.
Seems a bit low.
That is, until it re-emerged at Gamescom opening night, live 2023. And somehow, in some way, the development team crammed even more on top of everything from the previous trailer. Arm wrestling, real-time destruction of various structures, horse riding and combat, hijacking wagons, tree climbing, hot air balloon, skydiving, bullet hell bosses, first-person fishing, flute playing, sheep rescue, giant mechanical bosses, and yes, you could even pet various animals. Again, it felt simply unbelievable that Pearl Abyss could deliver such a wide range of mechanics in such a giant world with that level of visual fidelity. While there wasn't a release date, and you could argue for a drop in graphical quality, Crimson Desert was clearly more than a showcase trailer. The developer also confirmed that this was no longer a prequel to Black Desert, but its own story in the same universe, further ensuring it stood on its own. 2024 proved even more notable for the title since we received 50 minutes of early gameplay, alongside the demos playable at Gamescom and G-Star. Attendees could go hands-on with various bosses, with the combat mechanics really coming alive. Along with the sword and shield play and explosive arrows, the overall visceral nature of encounters, each looking unique with their mechanics, was stunning. And yes, as ridiculous as it seemed in the initial gameplay trailer, you could still clothesline, body slam, and RKO enemies out of nowhere. Ultimately, it's the latest trailer at the Game Awards 2024 that sealed things, with its sheer abundance of killer techniques, different weapons, and even other playable characters. The world still looks incredible, whether it's the floating islands and the secrets, or just roaming the countryside and battling monsters. With everything new, including confirmation that you can indeed ride around on a dragon and rain fire down on enemies, it's like we still haven't even scratched the surface of what Crimson Desert has to offer. Yes, there are still areas which could use some more polish, like the footstep audio from that 50-minute gameplay video, or some graphical issues like pop-in. However, the fact that it's scheduled for late 2025 and not the first quarter as initially rumored also gives the impression of Pearl Abyss opting for a more realistic timetable and taking the time for proper polish. Plans can always change, but given everything we've seen thus far, it's looking like one of the biggest games of next year, both in scale and in hype. That's no easy feat, especially considering some of the competition, especially if it clashes with Grand Theft Auto 6 in the fall.
Look out! Get back to camp. I'll meet you there. In one piece, I hope.
One could look at the sheer number of influences for Crimson Desert and express skepticism beyond the visuals. It's compared to properties like The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Dragon's Dogma 2, and so on. Black Desert players could also likely spot similar mechanics and really question how in-depth the side quests will be and whatnot. Leaving aside the fact that almost every game iterates on mechanics from those games that came before, Crimson Desert's biggest strengths looks to be one all those other games have in common: the thrill of discovery. Setting out into a massive unknown world, meeting different characters and learning their stories, and unearthing all the many ways you can augment your character and further legend. It's also worth noting that its release timing works out pretty well. Not only is it filling the space before The Witcher 4 launches, which will be a long time since full production only started in November of 2024, but catering to fans of those other games who want something more. The sheer size and scale are already very impressive, yet it feels like the development team is hiding so much more, as if waiting to surprise players. Based on its overall visual style, and combat remaining mostly the same since that initial 2020 gameplay reveal, even with some graphical downgrades, Crimson Desert seemingly has a strong vision that it's maintained over the years. Pearl Abyss has seemingly taken the time to optimize it for current-gen hardware, polishing everything so that it meets the lofty standard that have no doubt arisen, and the overall experience looks all the better for it. "2025 is shaping up to be something special, with the sheer number of blockbusters and killer apps released across the board. There's an entire other half of the year that's veritably uncharted, with publishers seemingly afraid of going up against GTA 6. Despite their differences, Crimson Desert could very well be the other side of the same coin. A massive open-world action RPG that also leans into immersing players and making them feel like they're a part of it. For that reason, and many others, we can't wait to explore everything it has to offer." Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.